Anyway, we'll start.
Go on.
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
How are you both?
Very well.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we'll start with the name then. What happened when you came up with the name? Obviously, it's pretty basic, but it says on the tin.
Yeah. We were called
CBD Cumbria, and within days of us registering that with Company's House, there was another website popped up under the name CBD Cumbria, or maybe even just a Facebook page. There was something popped up,
Right.
and we were like, to avoid any hassle, let's just
Even though you were first.
Even though we were first, but to be honest, we're glad really because Lakeland CBD sounds a lot better than CBD Cumbria. So yeah, we're kind of glad that happened in a way.
It was meant to be.
Yeah,
It was. Yeah, no, I think it works. Who came up with the artwork and the logo and everything?
So it was Flying Fox Creative, a company in Carlisle. It was one of our friends, Arnie,
right.
who we shared an office with.
It's really cool.
So it was sort of split between her and another girl that worked there, Natalie, and they did it together and put up a website together.
Cool. So like CBD is like a hot topic at the moment.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's talking about it. Like I listen to loads of podcasts and it keeps coming up. Like Joe Rogan goes on about it all the time, and it's something I've never dabbled in.
No.
But I've heard people swear by it all the time. So there must be, obviously there's a bit of a discrepancy between what you're allowed to say, what effects it can have versus what it actually does. But I don't think it makes any difference because all I would go by is what people tell you who've used it.
Precisely. That's what we rely on, to be totally honest, because it isn't really regulated as such as an industry.
It should be. And I think it will be eventually.
Definitely should be. But the problem is because it's not really regulated, there's a lot of people selling a lot of rubbish out there.
That's true.
Just trying to make quick money. So realistically, we've kind of just self-regulated, if you will. We've just sort of... There's guidelines already. There's certain governing bodies that you can sort of sign up to, and they'll give you advice and things like that. And yeah, we've just kind of we assume regulation is going to come eventually, so we've kind of just tried to keep it all above board for when that time comes, so we can just be business as usual.
Have you met many roadblocks along the way, or
people
or entities being difficult?
Roadblocks all the time, to be totally honest. I mean, it's not a week in the CBD industry if people aren't panicking about something that's going to happen. I mean, the biggest one usually is just that all the little companies are going to be priced out. You're going to have to get what they call a novel foods license just to sell it.
Yeah, I did read about that.
Which is,
that makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the whole premise of that is that if it was to be novel, it means there's no documentation of CBD being in food prior to 1997. Well, cannabis has been eaten for longer than any of us have ever existed, so it's like...
It grows out of the ground.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
What are the discrepancies with it is if you grow it and you use it as it is, then it's a plant and you're consuming it as a food. But if you are extracting CBD like we use in our products, what
turn
they're
it to
saying,
oil or something.
Yeah, no, it's just the extraction part. If you're extracting
right.
it, then it's not a full plant. That's when you turn it into a novel food. No one's ever done CO2 extraction prior to 1997, which in theory it's true.
Yeah,
but all you're doing is separating molecules. It's not going to have a different effect. It's a technicality.
So have you looked at how they do it in other countries, or what different regulations they have in other countries? Like, because America obviously... Are they quite regulated now?
They are, they are regulated in terms of CBD. But even then, it's completely different because then you've got the federal laws and then you've got the state laws and then
every state's different, isn't it?
Every state's different, but then
most states are legal for cannabis now, aren't they?
A good chunk,
or at least half of
half of them are,
and eventually they all will be.
Yeah,
but I can only see it carrying on going that way if more people get educated about it, and
and the thing
more research as well.
Yeah, and the thing is with the novel food thing, it's that comes from Europe. So obviously we're on the verge of Brexit. So they've said that they're going to keep the novel food thing in place, but a lot of things are still up in the air until that's resolved, I suppose. Yeah, and at the end of the day, like the Home Office, they just haven't got the capacity to deal with something that, I mean, it's really important to us because it's our livelihood, but the Home Office, it's something that's trivial that's probably not going to get dealt with. Yeah. So they're just kind of trundling through, and we're kind of going behind, making sure that we're still complying with everything in the hope that it'll work in our favour. Because we are because with there being no regulation, we are in favour of regulation. We do think there should be a kite mark.
It also gives customers who are less educated about it more confidence that they can go to it.
Yeah.
Because at the minute people are like, "Ooh,
that's it." That's exactly it. It's because there's that many people out there trying to jump on the bandwagon and sell CBD. From a consumer point of view,
people just trying to make money.
Yeah, exactly, and that's not easy for the consumer. The amount of people that we speak to on a daily basis that have bought CBD from a high street shop
or online,
eBay, or wherever, and it turns out to be a bottle of hemp seed oil which you can cook your chips in.
Or it could be something dangerous for all you know.
Yeah.
Especially if it's oil that you put in your skin or something.
Well, that's it. I mean, one woman actually come into our shop, and showed me a bottle that she'd bought off eBay, and she said, to take this, it burns the back of your throat. And I was like, that's CBD shouldn't do that. I don't know whether there's CBD in it, but I don't know what else is in it that would make that happen, because that's obviously not good for you, surely. But yeah, it's a bit of a minefield. You kind of just hope that, well, you say this, but you kind of just hope that people can navigate it successfully, but the reality is it's difficult. It's really,
well,
difficult.
in a town or in a city like Carlisle, when you've opened, obviously word of mouth is an important thing. So have you got enthusiastic return customers who are
all the time?
My favourite is a gentleman from Silloth, and he come in, and because obviously we cater for people that are often in a lot of pain, we're upstairs, which isn't ideal, so you've got to go up a flight of stairs to get to our office. So this guy come in one day on 2 walking sticks, obviously a farmer type gentleman, and he sat down in the office, didn't give us any indication of why he was here or what he wanted. Just complained for 5 minutes about the stairs and his knees. So eventually he was like, so I want to try some of this CBD oil. So I'm like, right, okay. So talked him through it, what we offered, what we would recommend. He ignored my advice and was like, I want the most expensive one, the strongest one you've got. I was like, right, okay, it's your money. If that's what you want to do, that's absolutely fine. So he bought some, and then a month later he comes back, no sticks at all.
You ran up the stairs.
Literally ran up the stairs, burst through the door.
So he bought 3 more of these expensive ones, and bear in mind these are 130 quid a container. These syringes here,
right.
So 130 quid each at the time. And he said, right, I'll take 3 because I've got a mate that wants one as well. So off he went. I thought, right, well, there's 3 months worth there. Even if he gives one away, there's still a couple of months worth for himself, so I won't see him for a while. Comes back in the next month, he was like, I ended up giving another one away. Everyone's raving about them, and now we get probably a good handful of people each month coming in just saying he sent them, and he's like, probably accounts for a good 25% of our business now, because Brilliant. He raves about it. And obviously the type of industry that is in, obviously being a farmer, they're all full of aches and pains, they're all working all their lives, so they're the type of people that we see.
Is that what it's mainly aimed at, is things for like aches and pains? Is that, would you say that's the most popular thing people associate with it?
I don't know. I think it's.
What's your best selling product?
The best selling products now are the capsules.
What are they for?
The capsules. Well, to be honest, it's all
like
it's
tablets.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's all the same. So the oil inside them.
Just a different way to take it.
All it does is it varies in strength. So
okay.
The actual oil itself is all the same, and it's just We've always had the problem from day one that our oil, because we don't dilute it, we don't put a carrier oil or anything in it, it's quite thick, it's quite dark, it's quite sticky. So in these little bottles, we do get a lot of people not so much complaining, but grumbling because it's thick.
Right.
And, sometimes people are used to seeing it, if they've bought it on the high street, if they've bought it from Holland and Barrett somewhere, they're used to seeing it as more of a olive oil type consistency. Right. But that's just because it's diluted. So we've stayed away from there, but we've obviously had to listen to people's grumbles about the bottles. So the next thing we went for were these syringes, which you can literally measure the amount you want to dispense, and it will dispense that amount exactly, no more, no less.
So where are you dispensing it to from the syringe?
From the end of that syringe. Straight into your mouth if you want, or onto a spoon, or whatever you want to do. It's all oral consumption.
So is there a recommended dosage?
Yeah, a recommended dose is 1 ml of oil per day. So essentially, that's what's in one of these capsules.
So what types of things would these deal with, taking these?
Well, I mean, we can't advertise it for any sort of ailment, but the sort of things you get people take them for is, as we've just said, lots of different variations of pain, but you get people taking it for sleep regulation, people taking it for anxiety, depression. The list. Your endocannabinoid system is what this stuff regulates, and your endocannabinoid system is basically it's a set of receptors in all your vital organs. We've got them all over our body, and it regulates all sorts. It regulates mood, pain, sleep, digestion, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, the possibilities realistically are endless. You can take it for anything and everything. If anything you feel not quite right in yourself with, you could try it for.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard a lot, especially like knees, backs, stuff like that. Like that guy comes in that came into your shop that time. People have had stuff for years that they've tried various things and nothing's worked. Then they've tried this and it's worked.
Yeah. Well, that's how we started, because I use it for mental health. I've got bipolar type 2 and borderline personality disorder.
Right.
So I stormed Desmond. What's that now? 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
2015,
about that, yeah.
So just after then, I sort of hit rock bottom, and I tried every antidepressant I could possibly find. Wasn't working.
Did you get flooded?
Yeah.
Right.
Rescued by a lifeboat in my Star Wars pajamas.
Right.
And I hit rock bottom. I had to move back in with my mum and dad. I was travelling to and from Cardiff. It was horrible. And I sort of got to the end of my tether with it, and I got to the point where I didn't know what else to do. My mum and dad didn't know what to do. My partner didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do, and I just didn't want to be here anymore. So I've got a friend in America. My dad's friend who had sort of suggested that his patients would have been prescribed medicinal marijuana by that point. Obviously, we don't have it in this country.
Difficult to get.
Yeah, no, but anyway, this is sort of 2016, so you're talking like even 4
Yeah,
years
yeah.
ago. So my dad had a crack with him, and he sort of said, "We'll see if you can get anything at all." And we found that at that point, CBD, there's a loophole in the law, which is what makes CBD legal.
Right.
So the Misuse of Drugs Act 1971 states that cannabis as a plant is illegal. In 2016, there's a Psychoactive Substance Act, which made any psychoactive substance illegal, which superseded.
It's a legal high problem, and they just
decided, like the bath salts.
Decided to ban them all. So that was.
But CBD's not psychoactive.
That's how CBD became
yeah.
legal. It suddenly went, because it's not psychoactive. They're like, well, we can't stop people from consuming it then.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't smoke cannabis anymore. I used to do it years ago, but I still think it's ridiculous that it's illegal.
Yeah.
Like, when do you ever hear anyone dying of it?
You don't.
Never.
Or health problems
It's
from
literally never happened. Nobody has died from cannabis.
It's ridiculous.
And it's,
alcohol,
Yeah.
cigarettes, fine. It's got nothing to do with people making loads of money from it.
Yeah, exactly, that's it. I mean,
But
endless
as in
amounts
America has been proved, the states that have legalized it made loads of money from it, like the tax on it. People go to shops and buy it, and it's regulated, and it's taxed.
That's what we need. I mean, that's the only problems you ever get with cannabis in terms of recreational use is any sort of, people always refer to, it can cause psychosis and things. It's not that it causes these things. It's just if you've got any underlying issues, smoking the wrong strains will cause.
The reason I don't take it anymore is because I've got lasyitis, and it accentuated that in me. So I don't take it anymore. I mean, I'm always fighting. Like all I want to do is sit and play my Xbox, but I've got shit to do.
Yeah.
So it's a constant battle of if I start smoking weed again, I'll just be on my sofa playing my Xbox.
The thing is,
fuck
as well,
all.
it's like when you think about cannabis though in America, they've got it right. It's the strains as well. It's not because
and it works differently for everybody.
In this country, what I mean, they say, well, everyone was smoking it back in the 60s. Well, in the 60s, you were talking 30-40% THC, but since then the plants have been crossbred so that you're getting like 84%
There's different
THC.
strains of it as well, isn't there?
Yeah, if you're a kid of 15 smoking 64% THC strains for the
You're
next
not
10 years,
you're not an adult, are you?
it's going to have an effect on you.
Yeah.
That's one of the points as well. It's like a not quite developed brain if you're sort of smoking high strength THC.
It's like if you were like 12, started to lift weights.
Yeah,
Your muscles aren't ready for that yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the points with CBD and why it's good is that it can counteract any of the negative effects of THC. So when you take cannabinoids, especially if you're taking them for medicinal benefits, they work better together. So if you've got THC, CBD, CBN, there's like 114 different chemicals in cannabis. If you've got even just traces of all of those cannabinoids, it will work better than if you're just taking THC on its own or CBD on its own. They will give you a much better chance at being healthy than if you just consume large amounts of one individual cannabinoid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's the other thing about it. If it was like regulated, if you could go to someone who knew all about it, and it was all legal, and they could advise you. Whereas at the minute, everyone just sort of knows someone who's got some, and they just start taking it. And
that's
then
the thing. The black market, even if someone says to you, "Oh, it's this strain, it's that strain," there's no guarantees.
You have no idea what you're taking.
No. Exactly, and that's the problem.
It's like people buy any drugs.
Yeah, exactly. And if it was regulated, you wouldn't get that problem. If it was legal, people could go into a shop and have that conversation. Then all of the problems that you probably find people associated with cannabis now would be gone, because you'd have the advice, you'd have someone that could give you the advice.
I mean, remember a few years ago when, because do some people get prescribed medical cannabis in this country now?
There's a handful of them that have got them for is it epilepsy and MS?
Epilepsy and MS, yeah.
But it's again, it's not even what I would call, when you think about what cannabis looks like, the leaves and the buds and stuff like that. It's not that. It's a liquid called Sativex. So it's chemically processed and it's turned into a medicine for prescription.
Right. So it's got other stuff added to it, probably.
Yeah. But even then, to get a prescription, most people have had to go private, because even though it's nearly 18 months since it was legalised, really, and I would say there's maybe 6 or 7 prescriptions gone out, and it's just because the doctors haven't got the confidence and they haven't been given the right guidelines, and the research isn't happening fast enough.
It's
like asking someone to do a job without insurance. If there's no guidelines and there's no protection, a doctor's not going to put their job on the line to prescribe something.
The government need to sanction some tests at least.
Well, this is the thing, and I think our government's being a bit stubborn, to be honest, because there is research going on all over the world. India has pioneered a lot of cannabis research. I mean, America and Canada now are doing a lot of cannabis research, but our government are saying it's got to be done in-house. It's got to be done in-house. It's like, well, why? If the research
they just can't be asked to get involved. They're too scared.
It's not even necessarily that. It's that there's a lot of conflict of interest there. There's a lot of people, shall we say, in the Conservative government that are benefiting from the export of medicinal cannabis. So
that's true.
They don't want to lose their money.
They're just delaying the inevitable. I think it will happen.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's happening in other places.
It should happen.
Eventually.
It's just they're taking longer than they should. And that's the problem.
Especially cannabis, it affects many people in many different ways. Like some people, like comedians, could smoke cannabis before they go on stage, and if that was me, I couldn't do anything. But for some people, it works. And there's probably people listening to this now who medicinal reasons. I was too scared to try it because of all the misinformation that they've heard. But if they tried it, maybe it could improve their life. They wouldn't even know. Yeah,
but in this country, if there's high strains of THC, they'll probably try it once and be like, oh no, that's not for me.
Yeah, they'd get put off.
Yeah. This goes back to going to someone who knows about it.
Yeah.
To try it in the right way. Yeah. Start small and work your way up, as I know that you're supposed to. But
And in the different ways, because you don't have to smoke it.
No.
You can put it in vape juice, you can put it in edibles. There's different ways of doing it. You can put it in creams. There's loads of different ways to do it, and I think because of the stigma that's there, there's a lot of people who could benefit from it that aren't, and it's sad, really, because you just want to help the world.
It must be 15 years since I've smoked cannabis, but I still think it should be legal. Should be legal.
Well, it's good.
It makes no
sense
sense
that you're of that opinion, because there's a lot of people in the same sort of position. We get a lot of people that come in the office that have smoked cannabis and have decided not to anymore, but they still want the health benefits that they were feeling when they were smoking it. They just don't want the high. They just don't want to be stoned.
Is that where CBD comes in?
Yeah, exactly. They want to be able to function. They want to be able to go about the business. They want to be able to drive. They want to be able to go to work. That sort of thing. And because there's a lot of things. I mean, from smoking cannabis, a lot of people already know, realistically, that there are health benefits there. There's just, sometimes you don't want to be stoned.
Yeah. So do you do any other products other than CBD related stuff?
Everything that we sell has got CBD in it.
Right.
Everything that we sell, yeah.
How many different products do you think you've got now?
We've got 20 now. I counted this week because I think because it's just turned to 2020, I counted what we had on the shelves at the end of 2019, and I think there was 8 products on the shelves, and we've now got 20.
When did you start?
June 2018. Yeah, so we've been doing this, it was sort of
a year and a half
in the idea stage in February 2018, so it's coming up to 2 years since we've been sort of invested in it. But yeah, we opened the doors June 2018, and the product range has just expanded. I mean, it's mostly...
Is that due to what people have been asking for?
Precisely, yeah. It's mostly come from feedback. So, as I say, we started with the little bottles of oil, and while people were fans of the oil and what it was helping them with, it was the fact that it was a bit hard work,
Some people don't like
bottles.
Oil.
Yeah, precisely. So, obviously, we've tailored our, routes of administration to suit people's needs, but we've since, things like these are bath bombs, these are bars of,
bath bombs,
bars of soap. Yeah,
I never even thought of that.
Yeah, well, that's it, because, obviously...
That soaks into your skin while you're in the bath.
Yeah, when you get a hot bath, obviously it opens your pores, doesn't it? So CBD goes straight into your bloodstream.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow. Hold it up to that camera.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, and that's literally, those especially have just come from people's requests. We were like, every now and again we'll do a post saying, what would people like to see? And the amount of people that said bath bombs, we were like, we can't ignore this any longer.
Yeah.
Like, people want these. So
where do you start with something like that?
Well, luckily we know some people that have already had their own line of CBD cosmetics, so they were doing their own bath bombs. So all we had to do was get a mould, and they offered to make them for us.
What is the mould? I didn't actually know.
It's just have a logo.
It is just literally the Lakeland CBD logo.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's upside down. Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool. That's brilliant.
So yeah,
That's a fantastic idea.
yeah. And they've gone down a storm, to be honest.
Really well.
People absolutely love them, which I was quite pleased with them, because
Yeah.
they were a work in progress for quite a while.
Yeah.
But we were happy with how they turned out.
So the first thing you ever had was just your oil.
Just
Started with
these.
the
I
oil.
mean, we started with, I think when we first opened, we had 4 different products. We had 2 strengths of oil,
Right.
1 vape liquid, and 1 tub of cream, which is just like.
Okay.
That's
So
like
it's cream.
That's
Also,
a
you just rub it in.
topical cream.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it just went from there. We just a case of what. I think the problem I always had, especially when I started looking at new ideas for products, was there's a lot of gimmicky stuff, a lot of stuff that you'll get because it's got CBD written on it, but the actual CBD content is not particularly high, and it won't.
Made from people just trying to make money.
Yeah, precisely. So I wanted to stay away from that as best as we possibly could. Last Christmas, so not the one just gone, but the one before, we did trial some chocolates, but they were good, and the people liked them, and they were tasty and things, but the actual content of an individual chocolate was not that great. It was like, maybe about a quarter of your daily dose.
Yeah, you'd need to take about 4
So
of
you'd
them
need
to get your daily
So
dose.
it was like
That's a lot of
it would
chocolate.
become
I was happy with it.
Yeah, people don't mind
It's not
eating
recommended.
numerous bits of chocolate, but it's obviously becomes quite expensive. So.
I feel great, but I've put on a few pounds. I don't know why.
So yeah, we've tried to stay away from gimmicky stuff and just sort of keep
probably
it
for the best.
keep it with things that is designed to give you your full daily dose in one go. Or,
The way that the way to get it into people's bodies the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precisely. So I mean, things like we've sort of looked at, obviously moving on from chocolates, looked at gummies,
yeah.
just sweets, but rather than have to consume numerous sweets, just a single sweet a day with your daily dosing.
Yeah.
So it's
Because it's
It's
still
like people take like supplements, don't they? Like
Yeah, and
what do you call it? Thingy oil,
cod liver oil,
stuff
stuff like
tablets
that.
like that a day.
Yeah.
Could be just part of that, couldn't it?
Yeah, and there was a thing as well with sort of people because with the little bottles of oil, you've got to take them 3 times a day, or the capsules and the syringe you only have to take once. But there was a bit of thing that they
Right.
didn't like taking it to work in the bag because it had the cannabis leaves on, and
Right.
so doing something like gummies, it's just sweet.
It's
Yeah.
just a
It's
sweet,
just a sweet
exactly.
that you take.
See, it annoys me that this carries that kind of stigma.
I know.
with it.
Yeah. But I mean, we sell what we sell and we do what we do, but we are sort of involved in the background with trying to change policy
Yeah.
and trying to change how people see it. And
It is
do
happening
this thing.
slowly.
Yeah.
I mean, with the internet, I mean, there's like high profile people using it who are just normal functioning members
yeah.
of society.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the more that happens, the better the perception will get.
That's it. And it's just re-education. It's like
Yeah.
the amount of people that are so stubborn in their views on it, just because it's how they've been brought up. It's not to do with any bad experiences they've had themselves with cannabis or anything.
And what
like
they've
that.
heard from other people.
Yeah, precisely. And it's just, I mean, once you get people talking, at least even if they're not changing their mind, at least if they're open to discussion, it's progress, no matter how small it's.
A lot of it
still-
goes back to years ago when all governments were putting out propaganda about
Yeah.
because
Reefer
they
madness.
didn't want any of that to come out because they were happy. Well, like tobacco, they
Yeah.
just wanted tobacco and nothing else.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know, it grows in the ground. It's natural.
Because we explained to our customers, like CBD and cannabinoids, they didn't have a food chain. Like you can get a small amount from broccoli and is it white fillet fish?
Yeah,
you get it from
certain
white fillet fish.
black pepper, I think.
Yeah, black pepper. But before 1928, you would feed like hemp leaves to cows. You'd feed hemp seeds to chickens, so it would filter down. So
Yeah.
there's studies come out of America now where it's a lot of people now are talking about fibromyalgias, polymyalgias, something myalgia, and it's like neurological pain that. It's new and nobody's ever heard, and the only way to get diagnosed with it from the doctor is if they eliminate everything else. And then the studies coming out of America, that, like from 1928, you're 100 years on from when it was banned. So in terms, they're sort of saying that, well, actually 100 years on is enough time for our bodies to change, and the chances are fibromyalgia, your polymyalgias, or your myalgias are literally down to an endocannabinoid deficiency.
Right.
So yeah, it's crazy. That's the type of information that's coming out now, but there's probably a lot of truth to it, because I mean, you look at a lot of these conditions, as Nic says, that they're new. We'd never heard of them, until fairly recently, and it's had enough time now for cannabinoids to leave the food chain when they used to be there all the time. I mean, you sort of, most people now as well don't really realise the last time you ever get cannabinoids is in breast milk. There's cannabinoids in breast milk, and then once you stop
natural
breastfeeding, for most people they don't get them again, and that's where you sort of deprive yourself of something that your body actually craves, and most people don't realise it. Because it's not a discussion people tend to have. It's not. I mean, your endocannabinoid system. Most people, it's not something that's taught in schools. You don't know it's in your body, but it's there nonetheless. And
I was actually talking to a doctor at the weekend, and I asked him when he was doing his training, did they teach him like a GP, general practitioner? When was the last time you talked about the endocannabinoid system? And apparently, when you're in uni, becoming a doctor, you only talk about it if you specialise in psychiatry.
Really?
Yeah. Which I thought was quite interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So if you're a GP, unless you specialise in psychiatry, you don't even hear about it then.
It's
and considering it's a fundamental system in your body, you'd think that they would.
Think, it would be.
It's
part
interesting that it's coming up in psychiatry only, though.
Yeah, I thought that because I've got vested with it being mental health. Like I had a vested interest. I was like, oh well, I wonder.
Yeah, because
why is my psychiatrist or psychotherapist? Why have they never mentioned it to me? None of my going part. I mean, I was diagnosed. I was quite young. I was 17, 18. None of them had ever mentioned anything about it to me.
I'd never heard of the endocannabinoid system till we started this business. I mean, I've smoked weed since I was 15, but CBD was never on my radar because, you generally, if you're a recreational cannabis user, you're doing it to get high. So obviously this doesn't get you high. So there's, for a lot of people, even cannabis users, CBD there's not something they'd heard of. I mean, I'd never heard of it really.
I only heard of it about probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. And I'd say I'd heard of it even more recent than you. Like, when we started this, Nic mentioned it to me just in passing, like, let's have a discussion about this. But
no, what actually happened was I was like, who do I know that knows loads about cannabis?
I was going to say,
my cannabis advocate friend Luke.
Yeah. My friend who knows.
Yeah. But I mean, it was all like, this is all fresh territory for me. I mean, obviously
it's fresh territory for a lot of people.
Yeah. And since doing it and looking into it and doing it for a living, you don't realise how much, like, your general health and well-being, how your body functions, you don't realise how much of it is reliant on these cannabinoids that most of us don't get. And
it's all fresh to most people. Yeah. And I'm thinking from the outside, where's the negatives?
Yeah.
Where are the negatives?
Do you know what? The only negative I've heard is that apparently in summer some people get dry eyes.
I think in the summer some people get dry eyes.
Anyway, yeah, exactly.
That's the only negative. That's the only negative I've found.
Even when I was doing some research online, I was like, I couldn't really. And everything that I did find was like a bit. These people have got an agenda here. I can't really verify this. Whereas the rest of it was just more people's testimonies of them using it, what they were like before, what they were like after, and it was always positive. Whether it was like a bad knee or a bad back, or
but that's kind of where
just general health.
Yeah, like when we develop our products, we always say, I mean, of course we need to make money. That's what businesses are for. But we like to think we've got a bit of background and foundations behind us in the way that all the products that we've got, I use, Luke uses, and we've got two very special testers in my mum and my auntie.
There you go.
My mum broke a spine in 2 places, and my auntie's got fibromyalgia. So every single product that we think about bringing onto the market,
they'll try first.
And it's my mum. She's going to tell me the truth. If it's shit, she'll tell me it's shit.
Yeah. If it does nothing, she'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
So and we'd like to think that we're doing it in the right way. We're trying the things that work
for the right reasons.
For the right reasons. And I think,
you can make a difference.
Well, that's it. I mean, as Nic said before, the whole reason we sort of got into this was Nic was using it herself, and the problem that she'd experienced was the inconsistency on the market, getting a product from one place and it was really good, and then a product from another place and it was poor quality, and it's like, where'd you find that consistent?
I can no longer get it from that place now.
Yeah, where'd you find this consistent source?
I mean, I'll be honest, the first bottle I bought was off some dodgy blog on Facebook.
Yeah.
Actually, pull the mic closer to you.
Oh. Sorry.
That's all right.
It could have been anything. It could have been petrol for all I knew.
Yeah.
And I was getting, and he told me he made it himself, and he sent me pictures of his bath with all these leaves in, with all this oil, and I was like, I don't know if that's real. And every time I was getting it, and it did help. It did start helping, but I thought I need consistency. I need something that's real. Like I just didn't feel comfortable buying it off some random.
Yeah. How long have you two known each other?
Oh, since we were 15, I think, was it?
Yeah.
No, that's a lie. Probably since we were 11. We went to secondary school together.
Yeah.
So
probably only about 10 years then, eh?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
So when did the conversation come up about starting this? How did it come about?
It was pretty much as I've just described. Nic was using it and was finding, as I say, some struggles buying it herself, and it was like, there's nowhere in Carlisle that sort of does this. There's nowhere where you can go and sit down and have a conversation with people that, you hope know what they're talking about. And it was just like, should we give it a try? There's a gap in the market. Should we look into doing this? So it wasn't an instant thing. We had to obviously try and find what we felt was the best CBD available legally in this country. And it went from there. Once we found the supplier, it was simply a case of, right, let's run with it and see what happens. And it was, I'd say if we knew now, if we knew then what we know now, we might not have even bothered, because there's that many sort of uncertainties in the industry. But because we were new to it, we didn't know any of this. We weren't talking.
Probably worked in your favour.
We weren't talking to the people that knew all of the problems that we could face. So we just sort of dived in, and luckily, nearly 2 years on, we're successful. So it's been excellent. But it was literally just by chance. If Nic wasn't taking it herself, I'd probably never have thought about it. So yeah, I mean, I'd probably never have even taken it myself, to be honest. But I've noticed a change in myself since taking it. I noticed the benefits. So
Such as?
Well, I first started taking it. I stupidly fell over on my wrist once when I was out on the piss, and it has never been right since. I fell up.
Snap.
yeah. And it was just one of those. It wasn't constant pain, but like usually a constant dull ache. But every now and again, it would be a sharp stabbing pain, and it would come and go, and it would maybe be a few times a week.
Did you break your wrist, or did you...
No, it wasn't broke. I did go and get it x-rayed. Well, they weren't sure. They didn't think it was broke, and they said you better just strap it up for a while.
You better go and punch that wall over there, and we'll know.
In case. So after that, it was never the same again. And then so I started taking CBD for that. But I mean, I've had anxiety since I was at uni, probably about half my life. And to be honest, I've never ever taken any meds for it. I didn't want to. But I noticed the sort of side effect of taking CBD for my wrist was that it helped with my anxiety massively, and so now that's the main reason I take it. I don't have any pain in my wrist at all anymore, so that's not even an issue anymore. I can imagine if I stopped taking CBD, the pain would probably come back, but I'm not going to stop taking CBD because it helps my anxiety. So
exactly. See, stories like that from you and from customers, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I don't care what laws say. Just go by what people say who've used it.
Do you know what? It not upsets me, but I get really frustrated because we get loads of great feedback, don't we? We get messages all the time, and we can't publish them in the public eye.
I know.
We just can't.
So like on Facebook, people can
put
push it on the page so
their
people
own
can see that
reviews and stuff.
But you couldn't go on and say, "Let's hear what you think."
Yeah.
No, because even the
because you're inciting it then, so it might be.
Yeah. So the way the MHRA look at it is that if you imply a medical benefit, then it's the implication, and you'll get fined.
Even though people say there is.
Yeah.
People swear by it, don't they?
Well,
yeah. I do. I mean, when I was at my very worst, I was taking something ridiculous like 22 tablets a day. It was like 5 core tablets, but then I'd get side effects from one. So I'd go back to the doctor. Oh, well, if you've got that side effect, take another one. So it's like 5 core tablets
for the side effect of
tablets.
Yes.
For the side effects of tablets. And now I don't take any prescription medication at all, and I haven't done.
It almost
like
seems
3
too
years.
Convenient for them the way it is.
Yeah.
They must be getting money for these other medication. We've got these. We know these side effects, so we've got these, and then we've also got these.
They'd rather treat you for life than cure you in a month. Do you know what I mean? And
exactly.
that's the harsh reality, unfortunately, that is the pharmaceutical
They don't want to cure you. They just want to keep you medicated.
They just want to keep you medicated. Yeah. That's exactly it. And obviously, if there's a pill for the side effects of the pill you've already got, then of course they're going to give it to you. Of course they want.
That's a dark world. Isn't
Well,
it?
it is, and I tell you, like I used to be. I've lost about 9 stone. I used to be quite a big girl, and I had a couple of bulging discs in my back. and one of the advice that the doctor gave me was, here's 224 cocodamol and go and lose weight. And that was what I got. And I took cocodamol for 6 years, and I got really addicted to them. Because if you take an opiate for that
for
length
more
of
than
time,
a couple of weeks,
for more than a couple of
normally,
weeks, so
you're
when,
hooked.
Yeah,
Do
so
you
when
know
It's
what
funny
I
how
mean?
prescribe that though, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
well, believe it or not, so I used to work in a pharmacy in Whitehaven,
Right.
and so I know quite a
Useful.
The pharmaceutical stuff. I know quite a bit about it. So the brand name for cocodamol that you get on prescription is called Solpadol,
Right.
and the managing director, has just been done in America for giving backhanders to doctors to prescribe the cocodamol to get people hooked.
That's what I took when I did my wrist.
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't get addicted to it, but
No,
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I
I've
was
heard of
horribly
that.
addicted to it, and it was that thing as well where they prescribed you 8 a day, 2 every 4 hours. Well, after
Just enough to keep you addicted, basically.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I mean,
after a week
it's-
it stops working, so you take 3,
Yeah,
and then
your
you'll take 4.
Tolerance builds.
Your
up
tolerance
so quickly.
builds.
and it's that sort of. Fair enough. Okay, opiates and things, they do have a place, and they are fantastic pain relief for short term, but they're not meant to be long term solutions, and that's what the doctors are doing. They're giving them out long term, and that's where the health problems come.
It seems like a plan of theirs, these long-term plans to keep people on them.
Yeah, and that's
quite
part of it,
possibly,
yeah.
quite possibly.
But I CBD for me, it's taken me off all the mental health stuff and the pain meds.
That's what I keep hearing. Like, as well as obviously like people with bad shoulders, their shoulders immediately better, and their knees or whatever. But it's a mental thing as well.
Yeah.
So that's all. It's not like you do something specifically to help with the mental side of it, or something to do with the physical. It's all
the
in
same.
one.
I mean, to be totally honest with you, CBD itself is not what helps. It's your endocannabinoid system functioning properly.
so that's like a balance. Like a balance.
Yeah, so it's basically, once this system is up and running, then it's basically giving your body like a secondary immune system, and it will help itself. But it won't work unless you're consuming some form of cannabinoids. So this system,
And we've
just-
not
just-
been doing that for.
no
Since
exactly.
1928.
Yeah, so this system just lays dormant. We've got the facilities to use it. Most of us don't, because we're scared to take cannabis, and that's the
Probably
problem.
the worst thing that we all consume is probably sugar.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
Terrible for us.
Sugar is actually
Terrible.
it feeds cancer. I mean, one of the things, because
Yeah,
obviously
feeds a lot of things. Diabetes.
we deal with a lot of people now who obviously use cannabis for cancer, and a lot of the people that sort of, I mean, obviously the stuff they use for cancer is illegal, and we don't sell it, and we can't.
Yeah.
But we know people that do sell it. We know people that get it. We know people that use it. And a lot of the advice given to people when they first start taking it is obviously, yes, use the cannabis oil, but make changes to your diet. Sugar and things like that will feed cancer. I mean, cancer doesn't survive in a body with an alkaline pH, but most people don't know that. Your doctor won't tell you that. And it's advice like that saves lives that people are deprived of, and it's ridiculous.
Cancer can strike anybody,
Yeah.
but it's definitely more prevalent in people who have an unbalanced diet or just generally unhealthy or don't look after themselves.
Yeah, but it can, as you said, it can literally strike anybody. Unfortunately, it doesn't really. There's no main real set of trends that you can sort of attribute to cancer. It will. I
I
mean,
think that was one of the first things I heard was cancer patients just something for the pain.
yeah.
It started with things like that.
Yeah,
Well, I think it was cannabis at the time, but like that's when I was like, there's got to be something to this, because
If
you're getting elderly people who normally probably wouldn't have even thought about it, but because of the pain they'll try anything.
That's it.
And
isn't it?
they've stumbled across that because of the last resort, and it's worked.
That's it. That's one of the main things, is people use it as a last resort, and that's what we want people to know. It shouldn't be a last
Should be your
resort.
first
It should
go-to.
be
Yeah.
your
Try that
first port of
first, and
call,
if it
yeah.
doesn't work,
then
try
go.
something else.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's
See, it's a catch-22 because you can't get people to like give testimony of how they've used it and why they've used it. It stops you from spreading it more organically than you could, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, really, isn't it?
Oh, it drives
It
me
is,
mad.
yeah, it's-
Honestly, I could, yeah.
You just feel, but you just feel bad
like
for
your hands
people
are tied.
because and it's the amount of people out there. I mean,
You've probably heard some great stories from people,
Yeah.
and you're not allowed to share it.
yeah.
No, I mean, we can share our own stories, and like my mum doesn't mind me telling people about her. Obviously, I've
Yeah.
said it today, but the messages that we get off people saying, "Oh, I tried it for this and I tried it for that," and we categorically can't put it out to the public.
It's a shame.
So we just
and they
have to-
probably
we
sometimes
just have to
send
say-
it to you so that you
For
can
that,
do
for
that.
that, yeah.
You can.
we do get that, and we literally have to say, "Can you go and post it yourself?" And then obviously people can read your comments, because we can't say that. But if you say it on our page, then that's fine by us. You can say whatever
That is
you want.
annoying.
Yeah, it is.
You need to be on like Border TV or something.
They're coming in tomorrow, actually. Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard last week a case about a couple in Carlisle that the case got thrown out. They've been growing cannabis. The lady Leslie, she's got MS, and they got found. Well, someone obviously reported them. They were growing their own, making chocolate with it, and it was about a year. They've been back and forth to court. It's one of those where the Crown Prosecution Service didn't ever want to put them in front of a jury because this couple, they know the stuff. They've had a lot of support from the cannabis community. So if it went to jury, chances are the jury would be like, there's no way these two are guilty. They're just medicating. And so that's what happened. The Crown Prosecution Service, before it even got that far, they said it's not in the public's interest to prosecute people for using it for medicinal purposes and threw it out.
And clearly not. They weren't doing it to deal it. So.
No. Exactly. So that's actually what they're coming for tomorrow, to have a crack with us about that situation. But so were you
something to do with them?
No, we're not. They're just because obviously we're in Carlisle and
you're now the Carlisle go-to people for all this.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Basically,
it's a great place to be.
Basically, yeah.
But it's the way that ITV are talking about it, I think, because a lot of people say, well, if they put it on prescription, is it going to put us out of business? And what we're trying to establish within the industry is that the fine line between what's classed as medicinal and what's classed as what you can buy in a food supplement store. So it's that, if you've got a vitamin C deficiency, you will go to a doctor and they will prescribe you a specific vitamin C for you to take. If you've got an iron deficiency and you need a really strong iron tablet, you'll get it from your doctor. But if you're feeling a bit low, and the doctor says, maybe try some iron tablets, you go to a health food shop and you buy some iron tablets. Yeah. And that's kind of where we need to find the line. So that we would be your food supplement people every day. We're feeling a bit crap, a bit rubbish. Yeah. But in terms of medicinal, if you need it medicinal, your epilepsies, your cancers, your MSs, that's completely out of our... Yeah. We're not doctors. Yeah. We're not doctors.
We don't pretend to be.
We don't pretend to be. No. So it's finding that line between what's classed as what you would go to a doctor for and what you would come to us for. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, it does.
So that I think that's the angle that they're taking on it tomorrow is because obviously what happened with Marc and Leslie, it's a massive leap for the cannabis industry.
It is.
It's a huge leap, and it's what are the ripple effects going to be after that?
Yeah. So you're going to be on TV?
Yeah. We are.
Yes. So they're coming in tomorrow, and do you think it'll go out tomorrow
Probably
night?
tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, that's what they normally do. Because I think they'll come see us at 12, so they'll be on tomorrow evening.
Like tomorrow's
we'll put this out on Wednesday then. We'll let you bask in that glory first.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Well, there you go. That just tells you everything you need to know, really.
Yeah. It's a interesting industry to be
in. So they're just out of the blue just approached you?
Yeah,
we get it.
We get them quite a lot, and she was funny. You should say what you said before with the go-to company. She said that to me online before. She was like, "We got to have a go-to cannabis spokesperson, Brilliant. So you're going to have to say something."
Yeah,
it's quite a responsibility. That's ace.
Yeah. It's the same with CFM. I remember CFM come and had a chat one day, and obviously it was to go out on radio, but they film it anyways and put it on Twitter. And under my name on the page, it comes up with Luke Woodend, cannabis expert, and like that's my title now. I'm a cannabis
Might
expert.
as well have put professor.
Yeah. Professor of weed.
Yeah. So when we were in school and they were saying to you, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah, I want to sell
Mission
weed.
Done.
Legally, I might add. I want to sell weed legally. Yeah, honestly, I never thought when we were sat in school, I never thought for 1 second I'd be selling cannabis for a living.
And it's funny because I wasn't into it. I hated it.
Yeah,
I used to get on his back all the time. What are you doing that for?
Yeah, get told off every lunchtime. Where have you been? Why'd you smell like that?
So when I approached him with the idea, he was like, are you for real? I was like, yeah, I'm deadly serious.
He was right.
Yeah.
I
was right all along.
So do you sometimes get people coming in just to ask questions?
All the time.
All the time, yeah.
Right.
Do you know what? It's funny. I love it. The majority of it is the sort of 55, 60-year-olds and over. Yeah. And they come in and they'll sit down like...
kind of sheepish.
Feel like
they'll be sheepish and they're like, can
you want to talk about that cannabis oil?
And they do it dead quiet. Can we talk about that cannabis oil?
Yeah.
Did anyone follow me in?
And you know, we had a gentleman in, an elderly gentleman, and he was talking to me about it. And the way that he presented, and he did the whole, can we talk about the cannabis oil? And it's as if he knew nothing about it. And then at the end of it, he went, well, love, I've been putting in my tea bags for 40 years. I know exactly what I'm doing.
That's ace.
Yeah.
It's and the scope of people, like there's so many. There's no like I remember
We often
started,
get asked what's our target
Yeah.
audience. We don't have one because
No.
it's anybody. It's literally like
That's because it has many benefits.
yeah.
It's not
yeah.
only that, everyone's born with an endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
So there isn't a single
Yeah.
one of us that doesn't have it. Doesn't have
And
the
this is
facilities for
this is set to sort of balance it.
yeah.
It's
yeah,
probably the best it's ever
precisely.
been.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
exactly. So it's
Like you said, when you
useful
took
for
it,
everybody.
it gives you benefits you didn't even think.
Yeah,
that were
exactly.
going to be there.
Well, that was it. I thought, right, well, I'll give it a go just for pain because I've got quite a bit of pain, and it's like the pain went, and it doesn't even. I literally get zero pain whatsoever now at all. But my anxiety's in check, which that is much bigger for me than the pain
Yeah.
relief. Do you know what I mean? That's far bigger for me. Yeah, it's
Yeah. It's like
huge.
with mental health, I mean, bipolar, when you've got sort of depression, anxiety, and you go to the doctor and they say, well, it's not a one tablet will fix all. And they'll say, well, if you take the tablet, then you've got to start going out more. You need to start eating better. Well, I find because your endocannabinoid system regulates your mood, your sleep, it's
Your-
kind of a
your
knock-on
appetite.
effect. Yeah, your
Have you been
appetite.
doing that as well, though? The other stuff, like eating better and
Yeah, because but only because my ECS is up and running. My sleeping pattern's better.
what's ECS?
Endocannabinoid system.
Oh, right,
system, so-
sorry.
So-
I'm not used to hearing it called that.
No. When that sort of happens, when you go to the doctor before CBD, when I went to the doctor, they were like, right, so we'll give you this tablet. We want you to go to the gym. We want you to go and speak to a counsellor. We want you to go, and I was like, I can't get out of bed to go to the gym. I can't get out of the bed to go and speak to a counsellor. How am I ever going to battle this? Because there's so many elements to it.
Yeah.
But with the endocannabinoid system, it does regulate your sleep. It does increase your appetite or whatever. It balances everything out.
Yeah.
So when you think about mental health as like you've got loads of different prongs that you've got to sort out, you know, taking CBD with your endocannabinoid system, fighting all those different things, I found my recovery. And if you think I've been battling this since I was 15.
Yeah.
So in the space of 3 years, I've gone from taking 22, 25, 27 tablets a day, whatever it was, to taking none. And all of a sudden, I've got this newfound confidence. My sleeping pattern's better. I'm eating better. I'm getting more exercise. And it's like a knock-on effect.
How much weight do you say you've lost?
9 stone.
Jesus.
But I have had a gastric band.
Yeah, but
But
the gastric band's not going to remove 9
Yeah,
stone.
No, but even the point of that, the reason I had to get a gastric band and get surgery is because when I was going to the doctors and asking for help with my weight,
Yeah.
they were saying, well, you need to make it your priority. No, mate, my priority is going to be my bipolar. My priority is going to be the borderline personality disorder. I'll never be able to
It's not like you're
put-
just dealing with that.
Yeah, it's got everything to it. So when you've got lots of different things to sort out, and then I find this product that
helps with
all of them.
Yeah, it's
Do you know,
crazy.
there'll be people listening to this who similar situation probably don't
Never
even know about
considered.
this.
Yeah, that's
No.
it. That's
No.
it. There's so many people that I know personally that were in that boat that were just like, I've never heard of this, and then they'll message saying like, oh, I see what you're doing for a living now. Like, can you give me some advice? And it's like, absolutely, and it's
I mean, we get a lot of listeners from America, and they're probably all listeners going, "Yeah, we've been doing that for years.
Yeah,
We've been
yeah.
shouting about it."
Do you know what? They'll be laughing at us.
I
They'll be
mean,
laughing
yeah.
at us.
These are conversations they were probably having 15 years ago.
You don't- I mean, honestly, I sat and thought about this the other day. Not Colorado, California, medicinal marijuana has been legal since 1996.
Wow.
I didn't realize it was that long, and it's like,
They've,
why
they've
are we
obviously
so far
listened
behind?
to people.
Yeah.
And, well, clearly there's something to this.
Yeah.
Because people are not trying to pull the wool over their eyes.
No.
They're just trying to get better.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Nothing-
exactly
nothing out of the
that is-
ordinary.
you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what people just want to be well.
Yeah.
You just want a quality of life. You don't want to feel like. I mean, even the tablets you give you. They turn people to zombies. Like they're not really.
Yeah, it's like,
they're just
I got rid of my
existing.
shoulder pain, but I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
It's like-
Exactly, and it's it's not ideal. And
You always, like, most treatments they hear like prescribed, there's always side effects, or it works, but
yeah.
Well, that's how
it,
I
yeah.
ended up in that situation.
Yeah.
Take these 5 tablets, but on top of that, you're going to need another 15 of them to make all those side effects go away. But then even those tablets come with side effects.
plus you've got to do this, this, and this.
Yeah, and it just baffles me absolutely. And it's strange because when I worked in the pharmacy and I worked there for over 10 years on and off while I was at school and uni and stuff like that. I genuinely all my jobs I've got the running theme. I've always wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And I think with having bipolar and having mental health problems, I always look at people and I think I hope you never have to feel like I did
You
then.
can empathise with people.
Yeah, massively. And I think working in the pharmacy, I genuinely thought I was helping people. And there is a place for drugs like that. There is a place for pharmacy drugs.
Yep.
But I think what I'm doing now, I'm helping so many more people in a
You're
better
cutting out all
way,
the bullshit
than
and
what I
just-
could.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it.
Passionate.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
No, but you can tell you've got a passion for it.
it comes from knowing how I feel myself. It's
like you want to
I
share
want
this
other people to
with
feel
other people.
as good as I feel. Like,
but there's things in your way preventing you from doing it.
Exactly.
Which is annoying.
It's
I mean, it kind of used to be that way in America with cannabis.
Yeah,
people
yeah.
want to say, you could take this, but I can't because they were
That's
pretty
it,
serious about it in America. Though,
I mean, in
people go
America
for jail,
now,
jail for it.
you're getting states now that are like saying you can't be refused a job for failing a THC drug test. You can't. You're not any less employable just because you got cannabis in your system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming like a protective factor now.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like that hinders people. Yeah, I mean, obviously because of where we are, we get people from Pirelli, we get people from BAE, people from Sellafield, Stagecoach, and all those people are concerned that if they got drug tested, would fail a drug test. And I mean, the answer theoretically should be no.
Well, you wouldn't show. What would you show for cannabis?
Well, CBD.
I suppose it depends on what kind of test it was.
CBD isn't tested for, so that would never show up.
Right.
But there is traces of THC in all of the oral stuff that we do. Any of the stuff that you consume orally, there is traces of THC in it. Never enough to exceed the UK legal limit, but it's there nonetheless. Now, theoretically, you should never cross the threshold, because I mean, even in a drug test, there's a threshold. You can have so much in your system before it's considered a fail. Yeah. So this should never ever past that threshold, but there's the concern that THC stores in your fat cells. If you take it long enough, could it potentially store up? Again, it shouldn't, but you don't want to say to people definitely no, because if they lost their job, it would.
I wouldn't like to be responsible for somebody losing their job.
It would be on us, but the reality is that it shouldn't even. The problem is, THC is it stays in your system for that long that you could have smoked weed 3 weeks ago and it's still in your system now when you go for a drug test. You haven't had any since, but that's the problem. It's not a real reflection of intoxication. It's just it's been in your system at some point. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the same with you get roadside swab tests now and they'll indicate if you've had any THC. You might not be impaired, you might be fit to drive, but if you fail that test, you've failed that test. Do you know what I mean? It's considered against the law and you'll obviously probably lose your license. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's one of those where it's such a like it shouldn't be as big of a factor as what it is, but obviously.
And if THC was understood better, the drug tests could be designed better.
Yeah.
So you could have a drugs test that could say, well, it's been there, but it's been in your system for a while, therefore the chance that it's not impairing you now. The drug test would be better, but at the moment it's just a standard.
It's like
they're trying to make it
black and white, aren't they? Which
and you can't do that.
So have you come across any side effects with any of this?
I never have. I've personally no. I mean, as Nic said before, a couple of people have reported dry eyes. Yeah. Obviously not at this time of year, but they have reported dry eyes at some point. But again, it could be hay fever.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Do you know what I mean? So,
but that speaks volumes, then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think a couple of people have said, this is just gone online, because we've got a group online, like Lakeland CBD group, and we had a couple of people a lot of people come to us and they take the line of, I want the strongest stuff that you've got and I want to start on the strongest stuff because I've got really horrible pain. And we sort of have to talk people down,
it's not always the best way, is it?
No, because the way with your endocannabinoid system, if you throw loads of milligrams at it, your body's just going to go, I don't know what to do with that.
You need to build up.
So you've got to build it up slowly. Yeah. So if you take the sort of 1,000 milligram right off the bat and you've never used it before, a lot of people have felt a bit maybe anxious about stuff, but I think a lot of it could be that they're just anxious about taking it anyway. But when they've sort of dropped down and said, no, look, don't start at the highest one, start at the lowest, work your way up. Yeah. Then from that point, I've never known anyone to have any side effects from it.
I mean, all I tend to tell people is, it's not even so much that the oil's going to do you. You're not going to feel bad for taking stronger than what you need. It's just that it's a waste of oil and money, really. Yeah. Like, you don't need to spend more than what works. Do you know what I mean? So the people that come in and say, and they've never used it before, they've never tried CBD, cannabis, anything at all, and they're like, if my pain's really bad, should I take the highest strength? And it's like, well, no, you should start small like everybody else and then only increase if you feel the need to. So because it's not an instant relief, because it might take a few weeks, once it starts to work, you can then gauge. You'll know how you feel better than anyone else. So you gauge, right, it's helping. Is it helping completely or is it helping somewhat? Because the temptation for a lot of people sometimes is to stop, even if it's helping not to the full extent it could. So say they're getting some relief, they're like, oh, well, I feel better than I did, so I'll keep on that strength. Well, realistically, we say to people, if it's helping but you could get more out of it, just take the next strength up. Because you can never overdose on it. You can't take too much. So if you feel like you could get more from it, take more.
Because I swap and change between the 300 milligram and the 600 milligram. My bipolar is affected a lot by the weather, so I would say between sort of end of October up until about April, I take 600 milligram, and then from April to October again, I take the 300 milligrams. So I go up and down, but it's personal. And because it's a natural product, it works in everybody's different. Everybody's got an individuality about it.
Me and you could have the exact same ailments, but what strength works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you. It's the same with all medication, but it's one of those where you have just got to feel it out. You've got to try it first, see if it's helping. If it is helping, fantastic. Is it helping enough? Yes or no. Right, take stronger, and that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
That's the only way to sort of feel it out is to experiment.
Actually, there's a CBD oil shop just opened in Penrith just before Christmas.
Oh, really? Whereabouts? Just in the centre?
In where is it? I think it might be in Angel Lane. Can't remember where it is. Yeah, somewhere right in the centre. But I haven't really had a chance to check it out yet. No, but
maybe I have to go and have a wandering.
Yeah.
I'll look it up and I'll send you the link.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things we're looking at actually, because we sort of do the retail that we've got online and we do it through the office. But we're looking at trying, because obviously we've grew our brand, we know what it is, our products are individual to us. We're now looking for places that will perhaps want to stock our stuff as opposed to it coming through us.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our
that's our
2020.
Do you ship worldwide or
just in this country? Our insurance only covers us for the UK, right? So we're not looking to go abroad just yet.
But UK, like Ireland and
yeah. I mean,
okay,
it's one of those. It's once you start involving customs and stuff, it can just become a pain. So it's better.
Do you do a lot of online, or is it mainly in store?
To be honest, it's about 50-50.
That's good.
When we first started, we expected it to be predominantly online, but like I said before, you get that many people that just want to come in and sit down and talk to someone, even if they're not necessarily there to buy. They just want to understand what we're selling and how it could potentially help them. So they'll come and have a crack, and most people leave with something. So it's
well, they should just try it.
Yeah, well that's it. That's all we have to say to people is, you've got nothing to lose giving it a go. Do you know what I mean? You can try it, and if it does nothing for you, fair enough, at least you tried. But I mean, one of the things we get is some people haven't got the patience, so because it's not an instant thing, you kind of have to persevere.
But I think people have that perception of it, don't they? That's why you keep saying, "I want the strongest, and I want to start now,"
because they want instant results, and it's unfortunately it's not going to give you them. You've got to persevere. So we say to people, if you buy one of these little bottles, realistically, by the end of the first bottle, you should know, number one, if it's helping, but number two, if it's strong enough, and then you can gauge for your next purchase if you want to move up a strength. Do you know what I mean? And it's just really encouraging people to see that first bottle out, because some people will give it a couple of weeks, think, oh, it's doing nothing, and not touch it again.
Not think to try the next one up.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, everybody's different, and you're going to get those people that are too stubborn to keep it up.
Yeah.
But, you know,
is it just you two doing it?
Yeah. It's just
since day one, just you two.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's it's manageable for two of us.
Are you open a lot, or
Monday to Friday?
Okay,
yeah.
Right,
we don't work weekends, but obviously we.
I was looking at some of your videos and that. How do you do your videos?
Which ones?
Well, so the ones with the demos and the
so some of them we did ourselves, and then some of them my friend Amy Story and Amy's she helped us, and our friend Catherine
did the voiceover.
Did the voiceover for
right,
me.
yeah.
What we've tried to do with the Lakeland and Cumbria is, I was really shocked when we first opened. I wanted my dream is to have a cannabis farm in Cumbria where we grow our own, we extract it ourselves, we make our own products. And I went looking in Cumbria, thinking, it's the biggest farming community in the country. There's got to be an M farm somewhere. There isn't one.
No. Wow.
Not one.
So there will be.
There will be. We've had a lot of people inquiring about it.
I had a phone call off a guy just before Christmas who's got a farm in Cumbria, and he was like, I just want to pick your brain, really. He was like, where do you get your stuff? You know, do you do it yourselves? If you've got a farm, that sort of thing. And I was like, no. I says, to be honest, I've heard that it's quite hard to get a license from the Home Office to grow it. And he was like, well, actually, it's not that difficult. He says the licenses themselves aren't really that expensive. I think maybe about £600, and they are actually relatively easy to obtain.
Is it a one-off? The license a one-off?
No, per crop.
Per yeah.
Right. Okay.
So what he said was he looked into it, and the reason people are put off applying for them is because they need to know, they need every bud that you produce has to be accounted for. So they want you to have full traceability for everything that you're producing. So that makes sense.
Which could be tricky.
But at the same time, it makes sense. So it's like, well, yeah, that's fair enough. But apparently a lot of the people that are applying for these licenses can't explain where it's all going to go for some reason. So he's basically said, well, I'm considering it, but is there any, is there going to be any sort of hurdles once I've produced this product? Am I going to be able to shift it? Obviously, from obviously the plants being farmed to actually converting it into oil, is it a difficult process? And I was like, well, we don't do it ourselves, so you're probably best off joining our group and asking the people in there that do that. But it's just...
Has he done that?
He hasn't joined yet.
Okay,
I haven't heard from him since, but he said he would keep us informed of his progress. But
I think as well, a lot of the licenses for it's political. It's very political.
It seems like that story there would more like once someone's done it, a lot of people would follow because a lot of people are saying,
well,
like,
do you want to know?
Do you
want to know the only company at the moment in this country that has a license with the Home Office to grow it is a company called British Sugar, and they are one of the directors is a gentleman called. Is it Paul Kenwood, I think it is?
Yeah, so there's Paul Kenwood, who's the managing director.
His wife is Victoria Atkins, who used to be our drug policy minister. She's a Conservative MP, and she used to maintain, she would swear blind, that cannabis has no medicinal value whatsoever. And then when it come out that her husband was responsible for the only legal cannabis grow in this country, she had to change her tune to, I can't comment, conflict of interest. Well, you can't have a drug policy minister that can't comment on drug policy.
And you've already said it, it's already out there.
Yeah, exactly. So she had to, they've put her somewhere else.
She's stood down.
They put her somewhere.
Yeah, they put her somewhere else.
They put her out to pasture.
Yeah. So, and do you want to know who else has shares in that company? Theresa May's husband.
And do you know what?
That's not a joke.
Wow.
So you've got Conservative MPs who are actively involved in the only licensed cannabis farm in this country, and all of it gets sent abroad.
But it's got no medicinal value.
Of course not.
Apparently,
No.
but yet it's all sold for medicinal benefits.
You know what? Someone's going to slip up at some point.
Yeah.
Someone big's going to slip up.
That whole story. I mean, we learned about it very early on, didn't we? And it infuriates me. I think why, and when we talk to people, because obviously we talk about this all the time. I forget the stigma around it. Yeah, we're in this sort of cannabis bubble, and I think when we talk about it and people hear that story, it's like, well, how are they getting away with it?
And also, was that in the news?
No. Why is no one talking about it?
And then at what point did that come out about Theresa May? Was that while she was Prime Minister?
Yeah. Come on.
That's why we didn't hear about it then.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's the Tory cannabis connection. It's
And sometimes when I hear myself talking about it, I think, God, she's gone into that conspiracy theory. People are just going to think she's lost it again.
You're just looking at the facts, though, aren't you? It's like,
that's it.
If she laid those things out to anybody, they go,
something's not right here.
Yeah, something is awry.
Yeah, that's it. It's balmy to think that. They feel that it does have medicinal value and they'll profit from that, but it's not good enough for the British.
Well, a lot of them have probably been using it for years.
Yeah,
we don't know about it. Something's going to happen where it's going to get to a point where they can no longer deny it or hide it.
Yeah.
Something's going to tip it over the edge. Someone will lose their job, or something will come out from years ago.
Yeah,
someone's got to give.
There's
pressure from that side. There's pressure from the public. There's pressure from businesses.
That's the biggest one now, because one of the things we've obviously had to deal with amidst all this novel food situation and whether they were going to take the industry offers and things like that is, if they tried a few years ago, they probably would have succeeded, but there's that many people replacing their meds with CBD now that the public backlash, if they tried to stop us selling it now, would be huge. Because it's not just the businesses now, it's the public that would suffer if these products were taken off the market. So if they stop all this, people suddenly go back to being ill. They're not going to be happy with that. They're not going to put up with that. So
and I mean, even from my point of view, it's life or death for me.
Yeah.
I've been.
That's no joke.
It's not, and it really isn't. And for me, it's just if you take my CBD, the chances are I'll, that after Storm Desmond, I was on suicide watch.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back there.
No.
And I'll fight tooth and nail to make sure that it never happens. And I'm not the only one who feels like that.
No, I bet you're not.
And it's like joking about it, but it's serious stuff. If
you don't hear about it enough, do you?
No.
It seems to get brushed under the carpet.
It is, and it's a lot to do with what you can and can't say online. And I was saying to you about our Facebook page, we constantly ask people to share things for us, and it's because the algorithms on social media are built to filter CBD, cannabis.
Certain countries have certain filters where if it's illegal, then they filter it out.
Yeah, but a lot of
or
it
if the government pays them.
Yeah, but a lot of it comes from America, because even now
it's still federally
illegal.
It's still federally illegal, which is still a stumbling block. Even though they're debating now whether to federally legalise it, whether they will or not is another question. But at least that's being debated, and that's the type of thing that this country should be paying attention to. It's like if America are considering federally decriminalising cannabis across the whole nation, surely that means it's okay. Surely, where is it time for Britain to sort of step in and say, actually, we should probably get on board with this now? Because
it's a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
I think it is a matter of time, but it's too much about business. It's not about the people.
Yeah,
it's too much about who's going to have.
It always is.
But
it always is.
At the same time, and I understand that, but at the same time, the amount of money that's generated in legal tax revenue from cannabis sales, Colorado since 2014, they've gone over $1 billion now in tax revenue.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and it's like
they've got the best school system, the best healthcare system, the best.
They've been able to pump money back into stuff that they had no money for.
Because
they were spending it arresting people for cannabis.
Yeah, exactly. And look at the areas in this country where that money would go to use: the NHS, schools. You've got the homeless. I mean, there's so many different things.
There's extra money that they hadn't accounted for.
Yeah, precisely. And it's like it seems backwards that they just wouldn't even consider it. But obviously, there's a lot more to it.
But also, your story in particular, like when they're coming tomorrow, they should be talking about that as well.
Yeah.
For me, there should be.
Yeah.
But it's what's happening at the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so once they've talked to you about that, try and talk about that.
I will.
Because it's not a joke. It's not funny.
No,
it needs to be heard.
When we first opened the News and Star, they ran a story, and the headline was "Cannabis oil saved my life."
Was it when you opened the store?
Yeah.
Right.
They did a piece that there was all of us on the front page, wasn't there? And the story that they used was mine. And when I saw it at first, I was really angry about it, because when you read it, you think, oh, she's had cancer and she's used cannabis oil, and that's what it was. And it wasn't. It was about my mental health.
Yeah.
And I was angry about it at first. I was like, that's really misleading. I was like, but no, actually,
it's still true.
It's still true.
It's still true.
Even if they do think it's about that, that's still true. Yeah.
Once you read the article, it's still.
You think, no, she's right.
Yeah.
So whether people read just the headline or the article, it's all good.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It still paints cannabis in a good light.
Yeah.
So
Which we need more of.
The main thing. Yeah. That's the main thing. But yeah. We'll keep battling, I suppose.
I've started.
We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. It's just.
I think for you guys, as long as you can get through the next, 3 or 4 years, I think that's when all the doors will open.
Lakeland THC.
I think other things will happen, like laws will get passed, and I think it's just a case of being there when it happens.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, one of the things we're sort of looking down the route at is we try and, our packaging and our products and stuff, we try and sort of keep them as sustainable as we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that, we're looking at is everyone's talking about how we can reuse things and renewable energy and stuff like that. So we're looking at trying to use hemp packaging, which at the moment...
Is that legal?
It's legal, but it's very hard to get hold of.
Yeah.
They used to have that problem in America as well. Where people they could legally make something out of hemp, but they can't grow it. They have to get it from somewhere else, like Canada.
Yeah, because all the different industries don't link up to help each other. So in America at the moment, we looked at getting packaging, didn't we? And they are doing sort of hemp packaging in America, but by the time we priced it up and costed it to ship it over to us,
it's not worth it.
It wouldn't be sustainable for us as a business. So one of the things that we're looking at now, there's a couple of, because we're part of something called the Hemp Cooperative, THC.
Right.
And one of the things that it's a networking group for, because obviously there's nobody else.
That's a great name.
There's nobody else in Cumbria doing it. So
it's intentional.
Yeah, very intentional.
Yeah.
But we we've got friends down in Plymouth and Portsmouth and down in Essex and stuff, and we're all sort of working together with the same goal. And one of the things is that one of them they did have a license, they got it taken off them, but one of the things that they developed was hempcrete.
Right.
So you can make concrete out of hemp, and they
used to make cars out of it.
Yeah.
Henry Ford developed
with
the intention of changing from fossil fuels to using hemp as a source of fuel. He made a full car out of hemp and was going to power it with hemp.
It was indestructible. It was.
Yeah, and they shut him down because
they put out loads of propaganda, didn't they?
Yeah,
about it being bad for you.
Yeah,
which people believed.
Yeah, that's the problem, and it's at the moment, especially where we're at now with the state of the planet, like we could do a lot with hemp that's not
Yeah.
going to damage the planet in any
And
way.
they couldn't get away with that now because of the internet.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
people would just do research and go, that's a load of bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
precisely, and it's at the point now. I mean, you look at obviously the issue with plastic and filling the oceans and stuff like that. Hemp plastic's biodegradable. You expose it to sunlight for a period of time, and it will just disappear.
Disappears.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a no-brainer. Like, why aren't we looking at hemp to replace
All
things
these
like
things just things that make you go,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why is this
precisely.
still
And
the
it's just-
case? Why?
And they're still fighting over oil. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Causing wars over oil, and it's like there's
Don't need-
alternatives.
Yeah, you don't need to do that.
You don't need it.
Yeah, it's like certain things, even like Iran, you think, why are they even over there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Why
exactly.
are they? How's this?
And it's
oh,
all-
is there any oil over there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it-
And that's what I said about me going into my sort of conspiracy theory. Oh, she's off again. She's off again. But the more you talk about it, the more it's real. Like we
And
don't
it's-
need the oil, we
Yeah.
don't need the fossil fuels because there's so much you can do with hemp, and we just our government just they need to get a grip.
Yeah,
But I mean,
they do.
that's worldwide though. Like, obviously, countries are starting to relax on cannabis, but the reality is there's still a lot more steps could be taken
Yeah.
to start this process.
Which
And
they
just-
will,
and-
but it'll
and-
just take a
and-
long
and
time.
people just seem to be stalling over it, and it's whether it's
It's all about money.
government led.
It's all
and
about
it's
money.
It's just
Where laws are concerned and things like that, it's about money.
yeah,
At the
of
end of
course.
the day,
It-
and who
it-
knows
it
who.
always is.
Yeah, and I think that, do you know what? The longer we're in business, I think I was quite naive when we first started, and I was very much, everybody wants to help everybody, and the Jones is all about it, and,
Yeah.
it's debilitating. But I think we've done quite well in doing what we're doing and saying, do you know what? No, yeah, we're a business, and yeah, we're here to make a living from it, but we're not going to compromise on our ethos and our morals.
No,
Point
don't.
blank, I'm not going to do it.
But also, I think it's a generational thing. Like, once we're like old,
Yeah.
the younger generation aren't going to be like the older generation above us. They're going to be more like we think.
Yeah.
And I think it's only going to get better as
Yeah,
generations
of
go
course.
on.
You'd
People are
hope that that's
open-minded
yeah,
and
of course.
like people grow up
That's it.
doing research.
Yeah, of course.
Like
And
like our parents weren't able to just look stuff up. They just had to believe what they had read in the paper or heard on the TV. They just kind of believed it.
that's it. Generally, the people that are blocking it are those of the older generation that are a bit more stubborn and aren't interested in new ideas because they don't like change or whatever their reason is.
A lot of it is they don't like change.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like when you try to explain to an older person, like who the people who like haven't got digital TV, who like have to be in when something's on.
Yeah.
You try to explain to them, oh, you can get a
record
digital
that,
recorder. You
yeah.
can record it and watch. Like, I'll just stick to it.
I'll still
You know
stick
what
to what I know.
It's that general
Yeah.
mentality of I'll just stick to what I do now.
Yeah, and that's.
But I think that goes back to this: people not wanting to try it because of misinformation.
the stigma, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
one person I never thought I'd ever see take it was my gran, and she
There you
swears by it now.
Yeah.
I mean, she was at the point where she was back and forth to the doctors. She was on a walking stick. Her explanation of what she was experiencing was she said she had a fuzzy head. So the doctors kept saying she was dizzy, and they were putting it down to old age. They said there's not really anything we can do for you. It's just a bit of dizziness. It's something you're going to have to learn to live with. And she's like, I don't feel dizzy. I feel fuzzy. She said it's different. It's a different sensation. And I give her a bottle of CBD. I just said, try it. I said, I knew she wouldn't. I said, just try it. And, what's the worst that could happen? And she's like, oh, no. So it sat at her house for months. And one day, she must have just woke up and thought, I've had enough of this. I'm going to try it. And so she tried it. And she didn't really particularly like the taste, but she persevered.
What was she taking?
She just taken a little bottle. And
So did you just like put it on your drip it on your tongue or
just
something like that?
literally, just drop it in your mouth or whatever. And she takes the capsules now, and she swears by them. She's no longer on a walking stick. I mean, she wasn't driving when she wasn't well. She's bought a new car now. Do you know what I mean? She's got her life back, and it's the doctors were telling her you're gonna have to live with it. You're gonna have to live with it for the rest of your life.
She's gone, screw you, buddy.
Basically, because they couldn't figure out what was wrong, and it may not have been anything severe or anything serious, but whatever imbalance was in her body, whatever it was, endocannabinoid system's resolved, and she's back to her best.
That's another testimony that would be brilliant to use on your socials, because like people believe grannies.
Yeah.
They do. Grannies tell you shit, you go, I believe you.
Do you get a lot of sports people using these products?
A lot more recently.
recently.
Yeah. It's
January, New Year, New Meg.
Yeah, I've got a friend who's planning on opening a gym, and he's like looking to sort of go into business and sort of
You asking for a friend?
stock it and promote it.
Someone who isn't me.
But yeah, no, it's a common one now. I mean, because obviously you've got a lot of professional athletes now who are not only endorsing some of their own companies, their own cannabis companies now, and it's becoming more and more, shall we say, widespread amongst that sort of community, the sort of sports field. But it's people love it.
So you have had people using it for sports reasons.
We sponsored a boxer for a while.
Cool.
I don't think we still do we? But,
no, he packed in.
Oh, he packed in.
He packed in.
Yeah.
You did that well.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I'm finished now.
But we do sponsor. My friend is he's on a football team called Sands Brighton and Hove, and it's a charity football team basically, and all the lads get together and they've all got something in common. And he now takes it, and he sort of said that his recovery when he's training, because obviously they started off quite small, and then they got a phone call from Rio Ferdinand who said, "Oh, you've got as a charity football team, you've got a day out at Brighton and Hove training ground," and they've sort of stepped the game up a little bit. So they train once a week, and he goes running and he's doing his own stuff. And he said he started taking it. So we've got a lot of people who would sort of take the oil or the capsules as like a constant because it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Or if you've got like a niggly, because a lot of athletes have maybe got like one niggle, they've maybe got
one
a dodgy
area,
a knee, an ankle, and that's when we've started seeing a lot more sales in the joint cream, the heat cream,
right,
that sort of thing. So where you'd put it directly onto whatever hurts, I suppose. So yeah, significant increase, but I think it's an area that we need to do more research on it. We need to push it a bit more, I think.
You could have a specific sports range of...
Yeah, that's a lot of companies are starting with stuff like that now. So yeah, it's a case of, again, as I said before, finding the best products, the best way to do it. But yeah, we probably will move.
Have you got your own YouTube channel?
We haven't actually, no.
I was looking on Facebook, and those videos would go well on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Especially like things that we've spoken about on here, just generally explaining what it is, what it does, or how you do it, or your different products. YouTube would be a good place for that.
It's something that we've thought of, but I think the
really
parents need to stop being
if you
camera
can
shy.
put it, if you can put it, but even though the videos that you've already got on, stuff like that, it's just as easy to put on YouTube as on Facebook, and you've already got on Facebook, so
exactly.
Stuff that you've already done, you just put it on now.
Stick it on there, yeah. That's it. It's a whole there. So.
Because you'll get the people who are too nervous to come in and ask you, but if they can go online and look at some of your videos, that might get them to come in. Could
persuade them, just to, or even if they don't.
Are you free tomorrow to help me with my new business?
I'll stop talking now.
See, you'll drop yourself in it.
No, but I just feel good about it. I think it's I think it's all good.
It's all exactly. It's all good. Like that's the one thing that I've had since we've been doing this is it's been all good. Yeah, there's hurdles and there's periods where you've got a bit of uncertainty, but the general vibe all day, every day is good. Yeah, it's just
it's worth it.
It's just worth it.
It's worth all the aggro.
It's just people wanting to feel better, and that's if we can help them feel better, then that's the goal. That's always the goal. Yeah, is to just make people feel better. Then hopefully cannabis is the answer.
I think so. Just people don't realise it.
No.
People just.
I don't think people realise how complicated it can be as well, because a lot of people say, it's not a case of cannabis is good or cannabis is bad. There's such a massive grey area, the different strains, what the different strains can do, how it's grown, how it's extracted, how you take it.
There are different types.
Yeah. Do you know, and because again with the reefer madness, cannabis is bad. People don't realise that there's so many different aspects to it. There's so many different ways to do it. It's there's a lot of learning to be done. Like I would say, 80% of our job is to educate people.
Yeah.
It's
constant.
20, it's 20% selling the exchange of money, giving out products. But I would say 80% of our work is education.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. Like on your website and doing informational videos. Yeah. That could do a lot of the work for you.
Yeah.
People come in asking the same questions.
I'll do one and send it to you. Then
whatever your most common questions are, just do something about that, or even write an FAQ or something on your website. Or something like
Problem
that.
is the most common questions if we couldn't answer in the public eye.
Well, there is that. Eliminate those, and then
it's hard. It's very hard. The marketing aspect of it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Have you got any new products in the pipeline, or?
We'd launched just before Christmas. We got on board with a few different cosmetic products, but the new year we were always intending to start selling those gummies I mentioned before, which will probably still happen, but at the moment we kind of, because we had, to be honest, we sort of threw ourselves in at the deep end before Christmas and launched like 5 different products in
space of like
space of months.
7 weeks or something.
We didn't really organise ourselves as well as we could have done, and we were sort of frantically trying to get these products on the shelves in time.
Should be one at a time, shouldn't it?
In time for Christmas, yeah, exactly.
Perks of being bipolar, you see. My egg goes, look, I've got all these ideas and we need to do them now.
So we're kind of going to try and let these ones at least stay in the spotlight for a little while, and then we'll start. We'll obviously be working on stuff in the background, but we want to sort of make sure people know that the stuff on our shelves at the moment is what we would recommend.
Yeah.
And then obviously if we find something else that's going to be even better, that will come next. But there's nothing at the moment that I would necessarily say we're lacking in terms of what we sell.
I think our cosmetics range, we sell everything as a cosmetic, but we've got people who are using it for a multitude of reasons.
You get, because these things.
When you say cosmetics, like what?
So this is face oil,
Yeah.
and we do a male alternative beard oil, and because of the cosmetics label, it's really just the only way we can legally sort of sell them. But I mean, you get people using them, and obviously I've got a beard, so I know from using the beard oil myself, it's not necessarily just for the actual styling of the beard and keeping it, in decent shape. It's the skin underneath. So obviously sometimes
the health of the skin underneath. Is that we get dry skin?
Yeah, dry, itchy, cracked skin underneath. So the beard oil eliminates that, really. So it's, although you don't need to have a beard to use it, it will help with
a very good beard. It is
skin and stuff.
too.
Oh, he's very proud of his
Impressive beard.
Yeah,
That.
but the cosmetics were just sort of a stab in the dark, really, because a lot of companies were selling them, and we thought, is it worth investigating? Nic got some of the stuff that we stock now to try, and said,
what else other than beard oil, cosmetic wise, have you got?
The soap, bars of soap, and the bath bombs.
Yeah, we wanted this again because we try everything in house and with our family.
Yeah.
My mum was fuming because
we sold bath bombs,
but she can't use bath.
She doesn't use a bath, so
soap.
So she whinged about it. I was like, all right then, we'll do something. And so we went down the soap road, and she you use it in the shower as you would, and we're looking at things like a body wash or
I was thinking that
different types of cosmetics, but I think
everyday products that you could put it into.
Well, that's it. And I think the only thing we've got to be careful of, the only thing we've got to sort of keep an eye on is how effective these things are. So it's obviously you can get a product and whack the word CBD on, and chances are it will sell.
Yeah.
But we don't want to do that. We want to make sure the product will do something in terms of
so is
helping
it not?
you with
Because I was going to say, you said about chocolate, but like edibles, like because a cannabis edible, like a brownie, is way more
effective
than smoking it.
Yeah, precisely.
Is that the same with this?
In terms of the effects, I don't think so. I mean, obviously with THC, because the goal usually is to get stoned, rather than any
health benefits.
Yeah, precisely.
It's different that way.
If you're baking a space cake and you're eating that space cake, generally you're going to try and get it as strong as you can.
But you probably have the same problems you had with chocolate then, with anything you were going to try and bake.
Yeah, precisely. So when it comes to things like gummies and stuff, when we've looked at them, so long as we can get a similar sort of content as what's in, say, a capsule, then we're confident that those quantities of CBD are effective. So that's what we look at now. It's not so much of getting a bit of CBD in a piece of food and someone buying it because
that
it's
would be good if you could. Like you're saying with chocolate or a brownie, if you could get it to be as effective with the minimal amount of ingredients that was effective with, like, in smaller doses. Yeah. You could make a lot of money with that.
Precisely. So that's why those capsules contain what we consider your full daily dose, depending on what strength you take personally. Obviously they come in different strengths, but that's the goal now. If we release any food products, any edibles, they'll be to get your full daily dose in one sweet or,
and be delicious.
or one piece of chocolate and be delicious at the same time. So
of course we'll have to test everything ourselves.
Of course, quality assurance. So what would you say your top 3 are?
The capsules now,
bath bombs.
definitely, the bath bombs, and The little bottles still sell really well, I think, just because they're the cheapest products. So some people, necessarily wouldn't want to spend, on a full month's supply like you get in a tub of capsules. They just want one that'll do them for a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? So people still buy the little bottles. They're not our favourites just because it is thick and hard to work with. You're not guaranteed the exact same amount every drop. Do you know what I mean?
True.
So it's kind of, we've tried to sort of steer people in the direction of stuff where it's already measured out for you. Do you know what I mean? So it's taking away the guessing element of guessing a drop size. So obviously personal preference, most people just still have started with them, and again don't like change, so they've started with the little bottles and are happy to just continue with the little bottles because it's what they started with. But it's just a case of really trying to educate them and say the capsules are miles easier. Just one a day in the morning, don't have to think about it again. But
just become part of your, part of your daily routine.
That's it.
You just don't think about it.
That's it.
No, I don't. I don't think about it anymore.
Yeah, which is good. It shouldn't have to be a big deal, should it? It's just,
no.
It's just an option for people.
I mean, the way when we take it, I mean, we sell it. It's a food supplement. That's what it's classed as in this country.
Yeah.
So that's what we take it as. It is if you're feeling a bit rubbish, you take a vitamin C tablet in the morning, or you go and buy an orange.
It is. Yeah, it is the same.
It's a dietary supplement,
but way more beneficial.
Yeah. I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
So how many, those capsules, is like one a day?
Yeah,
would you say?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, one a day.
So in your little tub you get 30. So you get 30.
You get a month's supply.
Right.
But they're coming. We've got them in two different strengths, depending on.
So if someone was starting, you'd recommend the lesser
the
ones?
lowest dose.
Yeah. And I don't know if you can see it, see how dark it is. The reason it's so dark is because it's still the same oil that we put in the bottles and the syringe.
Yeah.
So the quality doesn't change. It's just a different method of taking it.
Yeah, because
plus they're more consistent, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it. From day one, we've always said we wanted, if we're going to sell an oil from a certain supplier, whatever edible product we produce should have that oil in it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's consistent with the rest of our products.
When before we'd started and opened our doors, it was me that was doing all the testing for it. Because as I said, I was buying it off that dodgy bloke on Facebook, and then I moved on to this, and with this, the difference in them, I couldn't believe the difference. Like with the stuff I was getting from the dodgy,
the quality of it.
The stuff I was getting from the guy off Facebook, I felt a bit better. Or at the time I thought, actually I feel a lot better, but then I started looking around for a more consistent.
Because you tried loads of different ones,
hundreds of them. I was ordering one every day to try the different strengths.
So you're saving people a lot of bother.
Yeah. Well, that was essentially the point. It was like, we'll do that part of the work, so that then
you just try it.
If you try our product and know it works, then you don't have to continuously look for other sources, because if it's doing the job for you, then obviously what's the need? I mean, you're always going to get people that just like to shop around, but with CBD you very much get what you pay for. So we'll have a lot of people that come in and say, oh, well, I got this £5 bottle from the shop around the corner and it's not done anything, and it's like, well, you get what you pay for. Do you know what I mean? If you're paying £5 for a bottle of what looks like hemp seed oil, chances are you're not really going to get anything from it. Do you know what I mean? So
I like the packaging and everything. I think it's really
we are proud of the packaging. Actually,
at first I thought it was too dark, but then I've seen it on t-shirts and a hoodie. I think it looks
looks I mean, we sort of obviously look at what everybody else sells and stuff, and not a great deal of CBD companies brands actually stand out. Some of them look a bit plain, a bit dull, and a bit
generic.
Yeah, or sometimes even a bit clinical, which it's not a medicine, so some people try and make it look like one and that sort of thing. And we've kind of it
should just be a brand, like any other brand.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
I was translate really well as well, because we've got it on the oils, and then when we've moved over and we've sort of did a sidestep into the cosmetics, it works.
Yeah.
It's adaptable, I think.
Yeah.
It's adaptable. And the girl that we work with, Arnie from Flying Fox, she's just whatever I can think of in my head.
She
seems to be able to put it. Like I'll go to her all hyped up. I want this, and she go, slow down, tell me again. And
Hang on, let me write that down.
Yeah, and then the next day we'll get an email or a message, and she's whatever's gone on in my head. It's as if she can read my mind. And she puts it onto the page. I'm like, how do you do it?
Brilliant. Because you always need someone like that.
Yeah.
Always.
I mean, we're sort of trying to take a step into wholesale and seeing if anyone would like to stock our products, and we're revamping the website and stuff, and she's done an amazing job.
Yeah,
it looks really, really good, and it is that what was going on in my head you've managed to put on page again.
Yeah.
Because someone of my friends did go into that CBD shop in Penrith, and is there a established brand of CBD oil? I can't remember that because I think you said there was like a brand that had made it that you sort of recognised, and then they were doing their own, and they were selling both.
It could be what's that ladder called?
I wish I could remember what it was now.
What do you mean in Cumbria or in?
The shop in Penrith.
But
They were selling a general brand who'd made CBD, and I recognised the name.
There's one. It's Tom's.
Tom Wettons.
Yeah, cannabidiol maybe. It's either cannabidiol. It's a different way of saying it because I've noticed it in a lot of pharmacies.
Yeah. That was what was in Cockermouth Pharmacy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But his looks quite like medicinal.
Yeah, it did look that way. Yeah, it didn't look like a general. I don't know. It didn't look like what it could do. You know what I mean? They were trying to, because it's very important how you brand it and make it look, because people judge it by that straight away.
Yeah, they do.
That's what stands out instantly is what the brand looks like before you even touch a product or see what's inside any of the tubs or anything like that. You look at the label first, don't you? And it's even subconsciously without trying, without doing. If you go through a magazine or if you're online, you just make snap decisions on things. Based
without
on
thinking about it.
Yeah, of course.
But I think you've done a great job.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. And,
same. Yeah,
we'll have you on again down the line.
That'd be great.
You've got new products or.
Yeah.
When some laws have been passed, or whoever knows.
We'll have our launch, our Lakeland THC launch.
Yeah.
We'll
bake
before we
cakes
finish,
for everybody.
Could we maybe just ask, is there any kind of benefits for someone who maybe doesn't suffer from any mental illness or any physical injuries? Is there any kind of benefits in terms of maybe it can make you more motivated or more focused?
Do you know I was saying before about how like the knock-on effect of things? What I found, because when I feel depressed, that my motivation goes out the window, absolutely out the window. Yeah. So it's the knock-on effect of, because your endocannabinoid makes you sleep better, because you've had a decent night's sleep, you can get up in the morning and you feel as if you've got more energy.
Yeah.
Because you want to eat better, because of that, the knock-on effect of it is you don't necessarily have to have an ailment.
Yeah.
Just generally makes you feel better.
It just generally makes you feel better.
Cognitive function.
Exactly. It's because your endocannabinoid system, as we said before, it controls elements that you're not really thinking about. So, obviously, as Nic said, sleep, things like that. If you don't have a good night's sleep, the knock-on of that for the next day is you may be lethargic all day. You're not working.
You're not focused
to the best of your ability. Exactly, and it's things like that. We do get asked that question because some people are like, well, what if I just want to feel a bit better in myself? And it's like, well, this controls your mood. Your endocannabinoid system controls your mood. So anything where, even if you generally feel okay, you could feel better, and you probably wouldn't realize you could feel better until you try it. Do you know what I mean? So the potential's there for, even if you're not ill or you've got nothing wrong with you, to still feel better in your cell. You don't know till you try, and everybody's different. So you'll know how you feel better than anybody else. If you were to just give it a go and then report your findings after a month, say, right, okay, actually, I do feel a bit better than what I did before, even if there was nothing to really necessarily focus on. You're just trying it for, to see if there's any potential there. But yeah, it's so subtle, because obviously, as you'll probably know from smoking weed in the past, you get that instant sort of, you're stoned straight away, aren't you? So that's sort of the indication that it's doing something. Whereas with this, a lot of people, the biggest comment we probably get is, I didn't know what it was doing until I ran out.
Yeah. Until I stopped taking.
Didn't have any for a few days, and then suddenly
you went back to how you were before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you didn't realise that you were like that before until you'd run out of the stuff you were taking. It's
interesting.
It's an interesting process, because, as I say, for me personally, having smoked weed and then started taking this later, the difference with this is huge, like compared to, because it comes and goes when you smoke weed. Once you've stopped, generally you'll just go back to normal. There's no like hangover,
because it wasn't doing half the things that this was doing, was it?
Precisely. And it's such an interesting one to have that conversation with people, because there's that many people that literally were ready to give up on it and think, well, what's the point? It's not doing anything. And then they decide
they do give up on it.
And then like they're actually, wait a minute, I could do with some more of that now, actually. I was feeling a bit better, and I didn't
it's like, and do you know what? It always happens on a weekend. Someone will run out of it on a Friday and think, oh, well, bollocks to it, I won't take any more. Then on Monday morning, banging on the door. Let me in!
That's it. Honestly, when we reopened after Christmas, like, I expected us.
How long were you shut for?
We did close for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So, but we took all the stock. I took all the stock home, so I was doing online orders all throughout Christmas. So if anybody ordered something, they'd still get their order.
Yeah.
We weren't coming all the way to Carlisle because there was no point. But obviously, the few people that didn't like see us on Facebook or whatever, they didn't know that. So I got people last week when we reopened coming in just like, oh, thank God you're open again. Like I come over Christmas and you were closed, and I was like,
everyone's coming at you with like crutches and
yeah. So we actually
me and Lucas sat at home with the beans and the cheese.
Like because honestly, last week I thought, right after Christmas it'll be a quiet first week. We rushed off our feet all week last week. Just people like, thank God you're open again.
Most people are, but it depends on what you do, whether you're quiet in January or not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people are skint in January.
Yeah, exactly. But
they would prioritise something like this if it's having that much of an effect on their life.
Exactly.
It speaks volumes. Yeah. I think we're going to have to
wrap it up. Yeah.
No. I think I've been convinced. I'm going to have to try it.
Same.
As well as having you back on, we might as well try it, and then we can talk about it in the meantime on.
Well, we were going to bring you some, but we're waiting on an order.
That's fine.
So what we'll take your address.
Yeah.
And when our stock
just
we should be by the end of the week.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah.
Message us your address, and we'll send you both out some capsules and see how you get on.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That's
fabulous.
A perfect way to end.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down and spending some time with us.
Thank you for having us.
It's been really fun. I've
enjoyed it.
I always like to talk about cannabis. So.
I just like to learn.
Yeah.
And I like my listeners to learn.
Yeah.
Because people always message me asking about, why have this guest on, have that guest on.
Yeah.
Used to be just musicians, now it's all sorts.
Expanding.
And that's why it's interesting.
It is. I've been a fan since you first started.
Have you?
Yeah, I have, yeah. Because I'm friends with Raz.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I was supposed to come and do the Call of the Wild stuff, but then he moved it down to Lincoln, if you remember.
Right, yeah.
So I've been listening for a while. So do you know when I said I was really excited? I wasn't like...
I'm just saying it. No, that's cool. Oh, thanks for coming down, guys.
No, thanks for having us. Yeah.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.